Hey guys, so right now I'm going to talk to you about leave no trace principles. These are a set of guidelines. Hopefully you've heard about them before, but they're a set of guidelines that have been put together on how to behave in the backcountry and how to be good land stewards of the outdoor places. And these are kind of written in a way that they're universal, though certain things are going to be done in different areas depending on what kind of terrain or ecosystem you're in. So they're really good. They're pretty easy to remember, but just in case, I would print out a copy and keep them with you backpacking so you can refer to them when you're trying to make decisions about where to put your camp and what are the rules about campfires and stuff like that. And also do a little research, which is the first LNT principle of the area specifically that you're going to be in, so that you can be doing things correctly and be a good steward of the land. It's super important. You know, it doesn't seem like maybe throwing an orange peel out or making a campfire or something is a big deal, but when you have millions and millions of users in these really delicate areas, then that creates that can seriously degrade those ecosystems and become a huge problem. So follow LNT. It's not that hard. The principles are really pretty straightforward. So here we go. So the very first rule is plan ahead and prepare. If you have done all your legwork and your research and you have kind of backups, like on my trip I had a backup for my water filter and I had a backup for when my phone died and I can no longer use a Venza, and I had some dry clothes just in case I did get really wet during the day. I had backup for getting warm. Those are all things that go into the planning process that prevent you from having to do something that doesn't go by LNT. For instance, if you are more into a survival situation or you got really cold and you have to make a fire, you're no longer gonna worry necessarily about making a fire in the correct way or camping on durable surfaces. So planning and preparation, doing things that are within your ability level and skill set is the #1 principle of leave no trace. Number 2 is travel and camp on durable surfaces. I talked about that a lot during my trip. That's going to depend on where you are. You might be camping on rocks, or you might be just avoiding fragile or sensitive vegetation in areas like that, or some places you can only camp in designated spots. So once again, planning and preparation, figuring out what the conditions you're going to be in are, and planning accordingly. So number 3 is sorry, I have to refer to these two. Dispose of waste properly. Pack it in, pack it out. So I went over that. Sometimes there's going to be latrines and really populated trails or porta potties, and you should use those. Or you might be digging cat holes. If you do, you want to make sure that your cat hole is going to be 200 feet away from water. So yeah, you just got to figure out, these are going to be different depending on where you're at, but pack everything out. Spilled food, micro trash, even filter, if you have cook water, you want to filter out any food particles from that and pack that out with you. So that, if you just think of it that way, you want to pack out all your trash, your toilet paper, everything. And some places you even pack out all your waste. It just depends on where you're at. So be aware of where you're going once again. And then number 4 is leave what you find. This I know can be really hard if you find a cool arrowhead or some pottery or sheds or something like that, which I'm not going to lecture anyone. My parents are archaeologists, but just leave it where you found it. Other people would love to see that too. And that's just an ethical thing. No one's really going to be policing you for that stuff for the most part. But it's just something that you have to decide what's right for yourself. And then minimize campfire impacts. That's a big one. Campfires can have a really big impact in the fire itself, and the fact that they can start wildfires if you do them incorrectly. And then also, once you put a fire ring somewhere, people are going to see that as a campsite. So if you just find any area and decide you want to put a campfire there, then probably other people are going to come and camp there also, and then the impact for that area is going to grow. So you have to really consider where to put campfires, and I'll talk about that a little later. And then number 6, respect wildlife. So be careful if you see something nesting or, you know, something chilling in the woods. Like I scared that turkey earlier. I did not mean to. I didn't know it was there. But yeah, be really, really careful about wildlife and disturbing them. If you make them do something that's not normal for them, then you're kind of disturbing them, which I know is unavoidable. Like if you're walking by a deer or something, it's probably going to run off, but just leave things space. Don't bother them. I know it's hard. I love wildlife. I want to go and like pick things up and mess with them and stuff, but just leave them alone, let them do their thing, and they can be dangerous too. So just, you want, for your safety and for theirs, you want to leave wildlife alone, and that goes along with storing your food properly. Like especially in bear country and stuff like that, you want to hang your food. You want to make sure, like on my trip, I put my food away from camp, but I didn't do a full-on hang because I figured if something got into it, then, oh well, and bear hangs are kind of hard. And I wasn't worried about something actually eating me, but I did keep my toiletries and food away from my tent. So that's really important, and that comes along with respecting wildlife. They're not usually going to mess with you, so understand what kind of wildlife is in your area and the dangers that they pose, and what to do if you do see a bear or a moose or an elk or, you know, something big that could possibly harm you. But yeah, respect wildlife. Number 6. Number 7, and the last one, be considerate of other visitors. This is pretty easy to do. Just don't be super loud or obnoxious. Give other people space. Respect private property and stuff like that. All this is really common sense, but I encourage you all to read through all of the LNT principles and maybe have like a small little version or something that you can keep with you, just to refer back to these rules, because they are really important, and I hope everyone follows them. Please. All right, thanks guys.